It's the True Penny Show with your host, James True Penny.
Hello and welcome to today at the G1 Climax 36. My name is James True Penny, and joining me is the New Japan correspondent and co-host of Today at, Christy. How you doing, Mom?
I'm giving up on New Japan, I think, because I'm cursed. I remember last podcast when we didn't want to say who we think might win the G1, and I kind of suggested who I thought might win.
Yeah.
I think it was my fault.
Did you predict too close to the sun there, Christy?
So it just wasn't Geto this time. It was the universe going, nope.
Yes. Sadly, it was announced earlier this week that after his match with Zack Sabre Jr., of all people, like the safest worker in the world, Shota Umino received a concussion and has to bow out for the rest of the G1, which has made us unhappy. All wrestling fans unhappy, which I'm glad to see. Not that, obviously, what I mean is he's a man who has his detractors, and the detractors have been silent, thank the Lord. But yes, there was a bit of an outpouring for him, which I really thought was nice. But yes, no G1 for Shota Umino this year, which is a bit rubbish, to be honest. But yes. So I've had to be emotional support wrestling fan to Christy this week as she's dealt with the fallout of that.
I hate it. I love Yuya, I love Goto. There are a bunch of other guys in this G1 that I really, really enjoy. But so much of my excitement is now gone.
Yeah.
It's just after years of Shota and his fans, mind you, getting shit on, this finally felt like his moment.
Yeah.
And so many people were convinced Shota Umino is winning this G1.
And
I kind of did too. Like, it's why I hinted at it during the last podcast. I thought he was going to win the G1. And then I woke up and I saw the news and just felt
you went back to
crushed.
bed.
I was like, no, this isn't happening. This is just a nightmare.
Let's try again tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I understand where you're coming from.
It just felt like another example of Shota having to deal with bullshit beyond his control, fucking over his wrestling career.
Yeah.
And this after they already took the global belt off of him within weeks of him winning it, which felt like if you do it like that, it has to be setting him up to win the G1.
Yes.
And now we got neither.
No. Or to win the title back in a big manner, which also won't happen for a while because concussion.
Yeah. And this isn't me being angry that he forfeited. His health is more important. Of course, it's good
obviously.
that they didn't even bother to try and work through it. That's a great decision, don't get me wrong. But I am gutted, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to muster the excitement for the rest of the G1 the way I had anticipated beforehand, because I was just really excited for Shota this G1, and yeah.
We will try and keep a positive spin. No, not spin, because we'll tell you what we think. We will try, I said. I didn't say we would achieve any. I didn't say we'd be successful. I said we would try. We will be happy-go-lucky warriors, like Hiroki Goto would want us to be. How's that?
Oh, don't do that.
Okay.
That's emotional. What's it called?
Manipulation. That's what pro wrestling is, though.
Like Goto would want you to be positive, and I'm like, oh, how dare you! I don't want to disappoint Goto.
That's why I said it.
It's evil of you.
Not evil of me. I'm trying to bring you up and give you some joy. But I understand why you are sad. But I'm trying to be a good friend in general. I am sorry.
But you said,
I friended too much.
But like you said, it was good that when it happened, it was just lots of people going, "Oh, that's terrible."
Yes.
And I said this on Twitter. I feel like had it been a year and a half ago, people would have been celebrating. And we are at a point where people are actually sad that Shota is injured and that he isn't going to win the G1. So
there was was that Burke who thought we should end G1 wrestling in general and space it out. And I'm like, what?
That person, person said, well, maybe we should start talking about the G1 existing at all. I'm like, what? Yeah.
So this tournament in its 36th iteration, and literally there has been a New Japan tournament every year for 50 years. We're going to give up on that, are we? Because one person got injured. People get injured every year. It's literally
dangerous.
it's what you
James.
sign up for.
No, 2 people got injured. He
Two
mentioned
people got injured.
Shota and Gabe, which is funny because both of them got injured on the first day of the G1.
Exactly. If they got injured, if they'd had a catastrophic injury on day 12, fair enough. That comment might make actual sense, but they didn't. Gabe wrestled 2 matches this week, and Shota is concussed and sidelined, but ready to wrestle again as soon as he's fit. So
right,
it's not.
This is not the consequences of the
G1.
The G1. This could have happened any day.
Yes, it's the consequences of being a professional wrestler, which for your health isn't necessarily a wise choice.
Anyway, it was funny. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
It was also very dumb, but I'm used to that from Twitter.
It's one of those that is like, is that rage bait, or is he just being stupid? And I'm erring towards just being stupid.
Well, the check mark would suggest he's rage baiting.
Yes.
But then the complete lack of replies from them would suggest he's serious. Because if you want to rage bait and get a lot of interaction from people, you would then reply to people and frustrate them even more, right? But
but no.
Nothing. No responses.
No. Amazing he didn't delete it and go home and close his account and never speak on the internet again. But here we are. Shall we go to Hokkaido at Sapporo Prefectural Sports Centre? And that was on the 18th of July. 2,555.
Let's go.
Yeah, they seemed to have a pleasant time. They enjoyed themselves. So we'll give them that. Aaron Wolf and Tatsuya Matsumoto defeated Taisei Nakahara and Toru Yano in 5 minutes and 14 seconds. Absolutely your kind of match. Bet you loved this, didn't you?
Well, we should talk about something else first. That happened beforehand.
So yes, the show opened with Hiroyoshi Tenzan, accompanied to ringside by a kindly helper who guided him to the ring, where he announced that his final match will be on the G1 Climax final, and it'll be a 5-minute exhibition against his longtime rival, tag team partner, and best friend, Satoshi Kojima. And yes, I am very much glad that he's getting to bow out on a big stage. He's meant a lot to me as a wrestling fan for literally the last 30 years. He's had some legendary matches. He carried the company as the ace for a long period of time and done some incredible things for pro wrestling in Japan and around the world, and still has the most iconic mullet in professional wrestling history. What's your thoughts on his retirement, Christy?
I have to admit, I thought he'd already retired.
I mean, I did too, but you know, it was nice of him to come tell us in person.
I think it was a case of, realistically, he'd kind of retired, as in he wasn't going to wrestle anymore, but because of all the retirements, the official retirements, they were like, well, you have to retire officially too. So I was like, yes, and I want to be it to be against my wrestle husband, which is beautiful. And
it is. It's lovely, isn't it? It's just circular.
And it's a good thing, because he's just way too fucked up to actually still wrestle. So it being a definitive end is good for him, and he'll be able to say goodbye, and he'll get the cheers and the thank yous and the speeches, and he deserves it. Like, fuck Honma, but Tenzan is fine.
Yeah, Tenzan's a man. And if you want to go back and look at Tenzan when he in his young and reckless youth, you can probably find it somewhere. There's a match he had with Ric Flair in '95. Flair went on a tour of Japan and wrestled all the New Japan regulars. And that really gives you he was like 24. And just come back from Germany and was killing everybody. And Rick was blown up in 5 minutes. Just ran him ragged for 5 minutes. It was a sight to behold. You should go watch that match because it was so much fun. But there you go. The back.
It does kind of suggest that they are asking the older guard to take a step back. This is the third, fourth, if you include Tanahashi.
Yeah, I think, you're also getting like Kojima's kind of not in the scene anymore, is he? I mean, he is, but he's not. He's not like, he comes back and does odd things, but he's not like there to do the work anymore, is he? He'll have a good match and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
But I think he at least still gets paid, and I think it might be a case of where this is a new generation. We're getting a new influx of money, but we also have to think about who we're paying. Yeah, and maybe Honma and Tiger Mask and Tenzan are being suggested that this is the time to say goodbye.
I think Tiger Mask is different because he had a long out well before the cyber fight stuff happened. Like he'd announced his retirement.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying directly it's the consequences of the cyber fight, but I think that because of the new generation and because there's an influx of new things happening and new people that need to be pushed, that maybe New Japan was at a point where they were like, well, we need to say goodbye to a couple of people. And that's not just the old guard, but maybe also some foreign stars that aren't coming back or whatever.
They've got to tighten the belts is not necessarily a bad thing at this particular point in time, especially as, you've got to show that you're fiscally responsible, haven't you? And it's a shame for some of them, especially like some of those older guys will not necessarily get an income. There's no pensions in pro wrestling, so I hope that they've looked after their money and that they're okay long term. Especially Hiroyoshi Tenzan was the biggest name in Japanese wrestling for the best part of a decade, so I think he will be okay. But one of the reasons why they just go on so long is they don't get a retirement plan. You just stop getting paid. Like Nakanishi works in a fast food store now. So yeah, which is a bit sad, but it's the way it is. So yeah, but you're right. I think you also can't be the company with the new generation and all these new stars coming up if you've still got guys in their late 50s opening the show, right? Like Nagata has a purpose. He's a trainer in the Nagata Makabe trainers in the dojo, whereas Tenzan and those guys, they're around, they're cool to have, but what are they producing? Which is a very capitalistic way of looking at things, I guess.
Yeah, and I think there's also a difference between, for example, Hartley and because Honma and Tenzan, they need a certain amount of respect still. Mm-hmm. They are former champions and former stars, and you can't really have your up-and-coming young lions beating them, right?
No.
Whereas a Hartley, as much as I love him, isn't at that level, so they can way easier use him as a stepping stone for their new crop of guys. And he's not someone who's been in the company for 30 years.
He's a fresh face.
Yeah, and the fans are not going to be mad if you have Oiwa beating Hartley, for example.
No.
Whereas that's not quite the same with all these stars who've made the company the way they are. So it's easier, I think. And Hartley probably doesn't get paid as much as those guys would have.
I would think he's on a nightly deal. I don't think he'd be under contract either, so he's easier to control. But also, you can also do stuff with Hartley. You can put a mini feud together on a tour to make a story work, and you can have Hartley win things. Whereas it's not realistic to have Tenzan win matches, is it? Just the look of him. It doesn't bode well for this athletic format that you're kind of like focused on. So yeah, but there we go.
Does that mean Hartley is now the oldest guy on the roster? No,
I think he's probably the oldest regular guy on the roster. Yeah, I would think so.
But there's like Togo and Ghetto. How old are they?
Oh, to go. Is 69, so he is 57 years old. So he's
I thought you said he was 69. I thought that he looks good for his age.
57 years old. Ghetto is Ghetto doesn't give his Ghetto is ageless apparently. Oh, Ghetto's 57. So yeah, they're the two oldest guys. They move well for 52 and 57, don't they? Realistically,
I doubt Ghetto is getting retired.
No. Funnily enough, Yardo neither. But yeah, we'll see how that develops. Shall we get to the matches?
Yes.
Aaron Wolf and Tatsuya Matsumoto defeated Taisei Nakahara and Toru Yano in 5 minutes and 14 seconds. This was okay. Like I said, I think this was just right up your alley with Yano in it. I'm sure you thoroughly enjoyed it.
This being the first match was especially disappointing because this was supposed to be Shota, and they replaced him with Yano of all people.
It's the kind of running thin on roster at the minute because they've sent anyone who's not necessary home.
I know. It's not that I don't understand. It's just that it's a double disappointment for me personally. Like, I don't get my Shota match, and he gets replaced by a guy I'm not really into. It's just double disappointment, and
okay.
And it's also the story of Shota and Wolf would have been so interesting, right? It's the guy who's completely loyal to New Japan, who's suffered through so much hardship, but got accused of being a silver spoon guy.
This is the actual silver spoon guy
versus the guy who hasn't been in the dojo all that long and who got introduced as a huge star, and his first big match was a title victory at Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah. I don't think that would have been the story they would have gone with, but it's definitely the story I would have gone with. So it's just sad. But yeah.
Yeah.
This match, it was okay.
Yeah.
Wolf looked like a beast, especially whenever he was locking up with Nakahara, because Nakahara is a junior and tiny, and Aaron Wolf is kind of huge.
Yeah.
By the way, Oscar was on commentary this entire
He was. Yes.
I did have an issue with some of his commentary. We'll get to it later on as well, but here he starts out by body shaming Wolf. By calling him a fat ass. And I'm like, you could have just said he was big and imposing. That would have done the job way better than suggesting he's fat in a negative way. Like, yeah. Anyway. Walker's response to that was silence. And I like that he let it hang there. Like, just gonna let you think about what you just said and whether that was necessary.
Oscar was really good later on once he settled in, and I think possibly that first comment was nervousness, but equally, like, he has a reputation for saying the wrong thing at an inappropriate time, and that's not a reputation you want to garner for yourself. So sort yourself out.
I had comments about his commentary during the Yuta Ice match, but it's more to say that I think he talked too much.
Right.
Throughout the commentary. This show. I
It's
think
it. Go on.
I think he's a very good talker.
Mm,
He is,
yeah.
but he kind of, I don't know how to explain it. He was too present while not
Yeah.
really saying anything, if that makes
Mm,
sense. And
yeah.
he was also his tone of voice was just a bit low, or it's the mixing or whatever. So I had a hard time understanding what he was saying at parts because the sound of the ring was very loud in comparison.
Mm.
So it was a bit distracting, and commentary should not be distracting.
No, I think it's the classic case. I remember I think one of the BBC commentators said he moved from radio to television, and his producer on the TV show after his first game said, "How was that?" And he went, "You talk too much." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's television. They can see. You don't have to say everything because they're watching." So yeah, I think that's part of the issue. Is like he says an awful lot when yes, he doesn't need to. The visuals will say it
Yeah,
for you.
and
Yeah.
it feels like when commentary has a wrestler there,
Mm.
it's supposed to be either Charlton or Walker takes the lead, and
Yeah.
then asks them questions, right, to get
Yeah.
them to respond. Whereas Oscar was like, "This is my commentary booth now," and Walker felt like the guy who was interjecting stuff at
Mm.
times,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure that works for me.
No. No.
Though
Yeah.
Oscar is a very good talker, and I think with a little bit of guidance, he could be a
Yes.
very good person on the commentary desk.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Because we're half an hour in, we've covered one match, so we best get scooting.
Yes, but we've also talked about Shota, and that normally takes at least half an hour, so we're ahead of schedule.
Okay. House of Torture, Dick to go, and Ren Narita defeated United Empire's Callum Newman and Zane J, 6 minutes and 34 seconds. Zane J, as annoying as ever. Which is what he's going for. He's really good at that. I'm not sure it's positive. There we are. And yeah, it did what it said on the tin. Perfectly acceptable for what it was. I did not mind this one bit. What did you think?
I didn't mind this either. I think it's always interesting to have heel versus heel.
Mm.
It gives you something new, because it's suddenly one of the heels has to play face. And watching Zane J play face is very funny, because he's a dick. But he's also up against House of Torture. So, yeah, I thought it was fun. And I think Narita is growing on me more as well.
Mm.
I would think his new look has the Narita fans very excited. And I do think it's a very good look for him. It's very distinct.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was fun. And it was a nice little prelude to their singles match.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, Mighty O'Neill, Hartley Jackson, and Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Masatori Yasuda and Yuya Uemura 7 minutes and 56 seconds. We have new graphics for Zack Sabre Jr., which I'm very pleased about, because for a long time, it still listed Shane Haste as a member of TMDK, and now he's the GHC champion in Noah. So it's nice they updated that. He's still a member of TMDK, because TMDK doesn't work like that. He's White Raven Squad, but he's also TMDK, because TMDK is everywhere. What did you think of this?
I thought this was fun. I think Yuya and Zack is always fun because they're very similar, but not similar enough to be boring. And Zack, whenever he's wrestling a technician, is always especially dickish, and I enjoy that. He's like, "You're trying to do my thing, but it's my thing, and I'm better at my thing, so I'm going to show you."
Yes.
And this was a miniature version of that. And then you've got Hartley versus Young Lions, which is always great. And they always think they have a moment where they can throw Hartley around, and it never works out because they are Young Lions.
Yes.
So,
and he's a big lumpy bloke.
yeah, and Yasuda is like the biggest Young Lion.
Yeah, he's the lumpiest of all the Young Lions, but not enough lump
he's
to
a
take on
heavyweight
Harley
Young
Jackson.
Lion, but he's still a Young Lion.
Next up, we're into Block B action. This was a hangover from the previous show, which Gabe Kidd could not attend because of visa issues. So we had a Block B match on a Block A night, which was Drew Maloney versus Gabe Kidd, which I'm making a wild guess that you didn't watch.
No. I checked what the result was, and that was my interest in this match.
It was okay. I was really looking forward to this, as you probably imagine. I'm like, oh, 2 British wrestlers doing British wrestler style stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. But it wasn't. And there's nothing wrong. I understand what they were trying to do. What they were trying to do was tell the story of Driller becoming what Gabe was. Right? So Driller's the one that's embraced the Lion Mark. He's become strong style. He is doing in a less obvious way what Gabe did, and he's going to be more successful out of it because he's not obsessed with it. Whereas Gabe was obsessed with it and it drove him mad. That's the story they're trying to tell. So to tell that, there was lots of trading strike spots, which are fine, but not when they take up the entire match. In the first 5 minutes is trading strike spots and Driller's no selling it because he has to, because he's trying to prove how strong he is against Gabe, which is the right thing to do. So it was all right for the first 5 minutes. It traded really well, and the crowd got really, really into it. And the crowd were really into it. They do love them some Driller Maloney. I have to say, he has gotten over so well. But my one detraction of the fact is they just kept doing it and doing it and doing it when it could have done with some lift. So it just ended up feeling really slow. But I realised why it was feeling really slow, because they were hitting each other really hard. There's a really great picture of Driller throwing a forearm to Gabe's face, which is incredibly dramatic, and blood flying everywhere. And it's really cool, but equally, you can't do that at 200 mile an hour because it's going to hurt. And they want to make things impactful, which means you have to go slower, which is fine, but it made it drag. So they just need to watch pacing more than anything else. It's something guys of that standing don't normally do. So it was just a bit odd. I mean, there was enough left on the table for them to do it again, which I think was probably what they're after, because they'll have to do it at some point down the road. So they didn't give the farm away. But equally, it was just slow. When you need it to be a bit more dynamic between two guys who are building a heated rivalry, especially with Shota not in the picture. Driller's the next obvious person to do that job. So, not bad. Could be better, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was my thought as well.
Yeah.
I when I heard that Driller won, I was like, okay, it was this the point? Or was Shota the point?
I think... Sorry, Karen.
Because Gabe winning that belt and the way that he did, like disrespecting New Japan, disrespecting Tanahashi in particular, that felt very aimed at Shota. But now Drilla is winning the match and getting the fan support. Like, is that intentional, or was it intentional to put the match here so that it was removed from the eventual Shota Gabe match? So you wouldn't have there's two defenders of New Japan now. All that goes together. It makes me question what the plans were, and
I wouldn't be surprised if Driller was due to win that match anyway, because as we've pointed out before, likely favourites don't tend to win at the start of the tournament. We're only on night 2, and he's already won his first match. So I thought it would make an interesting benign appeal to Driller to win that, because he's kind of lower down on the pecking order but coming up, and Gabe is kind of stationary in the pecking order and can't really go anywhere yet. So I thought that was interesting. Would have been an interesting result anyway, but I think certainly, they want to put Driller in the back pocket in case Shota doesn't come back quickly, and I think that's reasonable. You've got to edge your bets, haven't you? So I don't disagree with it, but I think the match could have been better without giving away the farm as well, just by tampering with pace and having some more dynamic stuff towards the end that was a bit longer. But I'm nitpicking, I guess, really.
Yeah, I think it does make sense in that you've got Gabe Kidd from AEW. He's probably not going to be the focus of the G1 because he's AEW. But you want strong storylines with him, and the strongest are Drilla and Shota.
Yeah.
So Drilla, who was always the second to Gabe, right? Gabe was above him in the pecking order. Overcoming Gabe and showing that he's the better version of Gabe by doing so. That's a good story. And then Shota beating Gabe to get a title shot and defending and to defend New Japan is another very good story. And then you've got 2 stories for a guy who's visiting from another company, which makes sense. And then the rest he can either win or draw or meet Takeshita and both be very strong and neither lose again, I guess. Sorry, I still hate that match. I hate how that ended. But yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I understand. Shall we move on?
Yes, to a very funny match.
Great-O-Khan defeated Sanada. 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Got to give it to Sanada. He's doing the full tour. Well, not all of it, because the next night he changed his outfit. But he's doing at least the G1 matches with the gold mirrored sombrero and the mirrored suit, which is quite the commitment. So well done. I appreciate your effort, just for pure bloody mindedness sake. And then there was this match, and me and you talked about which Great-O-Khan do we get, and we kind of got somewhere between the two, but neither of them. And it kind of happened. It was inevitable. It was 11 minutes long. It was intriguing, but I wouldn't say it was interesting. It wasn't terrible. It's really hard to say. I'm not sure what happened in this 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Try to explain it to me. What had actually happened?
Well, I'm not sure I remember the match itself, as opposed to the dynamic between them, because we got babyface Sanada in this. And it's just another example of that world doesn't make sense. Because Sanada is House of Torture.
Uh-huh.
And House of Torture are the worst heels. That's just, you've decided this. And match 2, like Callum Newman, Zane J versus Nadeza and Dick Togo, shows this. Callum and Zane J played the baby faces. And spoiler, in Callum versus Nadeza on the second day that we're going to be recording, Callum played the baby face. Like, this is how it's supposed to go in the ranking of the heels.
Yes.
Right?
In the spectrum of heeldom. Yes.
Face to heel, House of Torture are the worst, and United Empire are better than that. But then you've got the Great-O-Khan versus Sanada, and Sanada plays the babyface. And it's another example of they somehow New Japan sees Sanada as a babyface and a heel, or they see him as a babyface but they don't want to remove him from House of Torture, or because the crowd was behind Sanada and Sanada did babyface things. Like he got tricked by Okan, and Okan rolled to the outside, and I think there was interference, or there were chairs. There were chairs involved, and it doesn't make sense to me what they're doing.
No, none of this did.
And I'm very curious to see what the actual dynamics between Sanada and Yota Tsuji are going to be like, because that's the next singles match that Sanada is going to have. I'm assuming that Sanada plays heel for the rest of the tournament, but it's just fascinating to me that there is a babyface heel dynamic in New Japan, but even between inside factions there is a dynamic, right? Like, Sanada is a heel versus those guys, but he's a face with Great-O-Khan. The Great-O-Khan is a heel from those guys, except when it's those guys, then they're a heel. It's like, is this intentional? Do they just run with it, depending on how the crowd responds? Is there actually something that they're going to do with Sanada?
Well, I find it really interesting there was no House of Torture guys on the next show. At all? Oh no, Brendan Rita and Dick Togo, but there was no tag team matches on the next show involving Sanada, presumably because he had been due to wrestle Shota.
No, Sanada and Kanemaru versus Tsuji and Nagai.
Oh, sorry, I missed it. I do apologise. How did I miss that?
It's okay.
Yeah, they did to it. Yeah, my apologies. But yeah, so he tags with Kanemaru, literally the heel master, the following day. and
he's
wrestles
back to being
in
a
a heel
heel.
style. Yeah, and cheats and does all of the thing.
Like, Sonata is my favorite too when it comes to the Great-O-Khan and Sonata, but that's not how New Japan is supposed to work. It's just
No,
funny how they decided that. They were like, well, no one's going to cheer the Great-O-Khan over Sonata. Might as well
so
make
we'll
him the
just go with it.
babyface then.
I tell you what, I did notice in this match. Sonata's was wrestling more like Keiji Muto than he ever has done before, which I find really weird. Because he's always been like influenced by him, obviously. But it's just like every time he moved done that match, it was like, oh, that's Keiji Muto. What's going on here? Why am I kind of like feeling Keiji Muto kind of vibes coming off of him right now? When, you know, he normally wrestles like himself. And I don't know why I felt that. It just visually in his movement, his body movement, partly I think probably because of his slowed down a bit. And obviously Muto slowed down a bit for the last 20 years of his career. Yeah, just an odd thought. Anyway, sorry, it just, yeah, but everything just is confusing. Countouts in the G1 as well. That's weird. That don't happen very often either, does it? Shall we move on?
Yes, to your favorite match, probably. Did you watch it?
No, I turned the commentary off and answered emails. I must admit, it was on in the background.
Oh.
But no, I just can't. I just everything he does aggravates me. This is Konosuke Tetsuya. He doesn't aggravate me. I like him. He's really cool against Jake Lee, and everything he does aggravates me. I did watch the tag match on the following card, and it aggravated me then, but not as much. He was a bit watered down, so it's fine. 8 minutes 51 seconds. How was this?
This was a very fun match. I actually really enjoyed this.
I'm glad you did. Someone should.
Shut up, James. Jake had the crowd in the palm of his hand, which was very funny because at the very beginning he does the whole pointing at the crowd and like he's waiting for a chance, right? And they start chanting for Jake Lee, and then he goes, no, and then he points at Takeshita. Like, you're supposed to chant for him, and so the crowd does what he asked. They go Takeshita, Takeshita. And it's just very funny because he's completely in control. And then the entire match is kind of that way, as in he's in control. But there's also this fun dynamic between Jake Lee with the flair and the dramatics and the face paint and stuff, versus Takeshita, who is much more no nonsense, who's very cool, and who's there to have a professional wrestling match, right? He's like, can we wrestle, please? And Jake Lee is, no? Question mark? I haven't done anything silly yet. So Takeshita gets to a point where he gets so frustrated with Jake Lee that he brings out a towel from underneath the ring and wipes the face paint off of Jake. Like, he pushes him into the corner, he gets up on the turnbuckle, and he wipes his entire face clean. And you can just see so much in that. Like, I don't know if it's just Takeshita going, that would be a funny spot. But
it was, well, the comment from listening to the commentary on the following day, they said that he was literally trying to make him wrestle like the Noah All Japan Jake Lee, not the current Jake Lee. So he wiped the face paint off in an effort to make him go back to his old ways and have a proper wrestling match.
Well, yeah, that's what commentary assumes, because we know that they don't get told what the...
No, but I think that's a reasonable assumption, especially given Takeshita comes from...
But like, what I was trying to say is that there's so much you can see in that without knowing what Takeshita means, because it could be very many things. It could be that he's trying to look for the wrestler as opposed for the clown, or that the mention of a clean slate was also there. Like, Takeshita wants Jake Lee to start over because this is not who he wants Jake Lee to be. There's maybe to remove the mask, right? That's another way you could see it, to remove the mask that Jake Lee is using to hide himself from the world, to remove the crazy in Jake Lee. There's so many things you could see it at, but it's such a small spot. And it could just be that Takeshita was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if I just wiped your face? And
I,
even you could see it as like this is Jake Lee's Hulk thing. Like he needs his paint to be strong.
yeah.
And now he lost because the paint is gone. There are so many, and I find that interesting because I'm not sure Takeshita and Jake Lee really thought about this that way.
I would suggest the opposite because Takeshita's a DDT guy, and everything that happens in DDT happens for a reason. So I would think that they thought this out pretty well myself. That's my personal take on it.
Yeah, well then I guess I'll have to watch the backstage promo and see if Takeshita said anything about it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
But yeah, I thought the match was fun. It's that you can tell that Takeshita really likes what Jake Lee does, but his character pretends that he doesn't. And that's fun. It's fun. Takeshita is playing the straight guy to Jake Lee's weird energy. And yeah, I like it. I know you don't, but I like it.
No, it's okay. But if it'd be a boring world if we all like the same things, wouldn't it? Okay. So the next match, which again, absolutely up your street, this banging Oleg Bolton and Yuta Ice. Did you enjoy this one?
It was okay. It was got kind of long at some point. I was like, okay, I get what we're going with. Can we get to the end now? But
it was 15 minutes, which is long for them too. They normally go over in about 10. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
I look, they are not my type of wrestlers, and as a result, their wrestling isn't really for me. But they put a lot of effort in. I can tell, and neither guy has too much experience yet, but they clearly worked very hard, and they thought about this, and they mesh really well. So
They do.
Me not really liking the match doesn't mean anything because it's just not my style of wrestling. But they did work really, really hard, and I can see why people who are into that kind of style really enjoyed this.
I did, and that would be me. I would be the person that's into this style. Also, a really creative finish with the referee's decision at 15 minutes because Yuto Ice wouldn't give in. Oleg kept going, and Oleg eventually just knocked out Yuto Ice and was. I liked that he was guilty about it because that's what he would do, right? He was guilty that he knocked out Yuto Ice and went and apologized to him and gave him thanks, got the crowd to cheer him for his efforts. Yuto Ice was still unconscious, which was very cool. It protects Yuto Ice because he never gave up. And obviously Oleg gets the win over one of the hottest stars in the company at the minute, so that's really cool for him. I think everyone's a winner in this situation. I thought it was really creatively booked and the match was outstanding. They tried so hard in this match to make everything work, and it was a good example of what Bolton can do when he's matched up with someone who's just as strong as he is, because I think he's struggled with that in the past when he's been able to just bounce people around. It's been fun, but when he's got to guys who are just as tough and big as he is, then he's not been quite so fun to watch. Whereas with Yuto Ice, this was really fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and he got to do some things that were a bit different to what he'd been doing, and show some creative flair and some acting, which I thought he was really good at. Myself.
Yeah, I was very excited about the Oleg Bolton guilty thing because that's one of the first character choices I see him making.
Yes.
And on the one hand, it's a little, of course, he's such a good person that he feels bad about doing his job and winning a match. But on the other hand, it shows that he's crossed the line that he hadn't intended to cross.
Yes,
right?
He's capable of so much more.
Yes, but that's not the interesting part to me. The interesting part is that he went too far. He crossed the line for himself. And yes, he feels guilty about it, but it shows that he is able of getting emotional enough and frustrated enough to do something he didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me, is guys who have a very firm idea of who they are and who they want to be, but who, when pressed enough, go too far.
Yeah.
That's why Madman Shota is so good, fun for me when he goes crazy-eyed. And that's what I like about Oleg, because Oleg is a fascinating person in that he looks like a heel.
Yeah.
He could very easily be made a heel. And a guy like him playing the underdog babyface role is very difficult. But
Yeah.
yet they like him so much, and crowds like him so much that he's still a face. And he's like one of the best quote unquote faces because he's just a good guy. That's his character. I am a good, lovable guy. And oh my god, I accidentally with my big muscles choked out someone. I feel so horrible. Please accept my apology. And when those guys fall off the rails, they're the most fun to follow. So I hope he falls off the rails.
No, you're supposed to want him to stay on the rails.
Oh, I hope he goes crazy and kills people.
No, I like him as he is.
Fictionally.
Fictionally, yeah, no, not like, no, absolutely not. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Shingo Takagi defeated Rai Owa 16 minutes and 37 seconds in another banger. This was intriguing. Owa had taken a technical approach in his previous match and tried the same again here, but Takagi was just too tough. And Takagi has been kind of the standard that Owa has been trying to get to. He's not beaten Takagi yet. I am sure he will. Or he has beaten him. No, I think he has beaten him yet. So this was a real testing ground match for him. And he put in another startlingly good performance. And again, we was talking about like Owa's lack of killer instinct up until Christmas, whereas he's certainly showing that killer instinct now. And that win in the World Tag League and the Tag Team Championship matches with Yuzo Ice and Oscar have certainly given him an edge that he didn't have before. And it's showing up in this G1. What did you think of this match?
I thought this was interesting. It was fun. But I was also just sitting there going, these are two very good wrestlers, but I'm not entirely sure why they're mad at each other. And
It's just Shingo's mad all the time.
Yeah, I know, but like, why should I care, kind of thing. And I don't know. I think Shingo is such a strong wrestler, like literally, as in the technical part of the wrestling, but also as a character, as the way people look at him. Like you can throw him in with whatever. He can have been away from the main title for 3 years, and he goes, "Can I have a title shot?" And people are like, "Yeah, that's believable."
Yeah.
That's Shingo Takagi, and he's cool. He's aggressive. He's really good at his job. And then you've got Oiwa, who's kind of the opposite of that. Like, he's very good at his job, but he doesn't have the same presence or credibility yet that Shingo has. And Oiwa's main issue for me has been his character, whereas Shingo is so charismatic.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need to think about being a character, because I think the person is pretty much a caricature of himself already. So, and then you've got this match, and I want Oiwa to do so well, because I see so much potential in him, and I wish he had a bit more of the Shingo to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fun match, though. Like, nothing wrong with it. And the fact that the crowd starts chanting for Shingo, and then they turn to Oiwa, very good. Oiwa in the orange, which means he's in his Dutch mood again, which is fun. He's more Dutch now. Welcome. And Oiwa just looks like a wrestler. The hair, the build, the shiny muscles, the height, it's just he has the look, and he has the physical skill and the technical ability. I just need the spark still.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from with that, definitely.
Anyway,
shall we move on to the main event? Main event was a heavyweight match, as you'd imagine, because it's in G1. However, Ryota Tsuji had said before the tournament that he really needed to beat all the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champions like Zack Sabre Jr. and Hiroki Goto to really bury the title and make sure that the IWGP Heavyweight Championship was seen as the top title in New Japan, and always was. So he went into this match with high expectations of beating Goto. But Goto wins 22 minutes and 35 seconds. The match is great. Absolutely fantastic. It gives Goto an out for the end of the tournament. Hey, I beat the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Doesn't matter what I do with the rest of the tournament. That's title shot in the bag for me. And it was a really interesting story of Tsuji not being able to get there against the guy he realistically should beat. If you look at the flow of his year, if you look at the big matches he's won, he's beaten all the younger guys. He's beaten the guys who are at the top of their game. But he comes unstuck against Goto, a guy he should beat realistically, right? He's getting to the end of his career. He's won the championship, yeah, but he's still Goto. But Tsuji can't beat him. He just can't figure it out, can't get there. And that's the story of this match. And it was fascinating to watch. And fascinating to watch Goto take the victory and the response for it as well. He's still the man, as far as a lot of New Japan fans are concerned, certainly in Hokkaido. What did you think of this one?
Loved this one. Goto won, so yay. Main event. It had a big match feel. The crowd got, especially towards the end, super into it. It started out a little slow, but it ramped up pretty quickly and then turned into an epic. But what was most interesting to me was the different ideologies. And I think that Goto won here because they want a challenger for that title in the future, so Yota Tsuji can actually beat the former champion at a bigger stage than the G1. However, if we're looking at it from narrative point of view, I like the idea that it's because they are so opposed when it comes to ideologies. Because commentary talked about this, right? And I thought that was a very interesting point to make, is that the way Tsuji looks at the belt is kind of elitist.
Yes.
He only wants to have championship matches against people who have earned it. And by that I mean people who have met his criteria. Like, I'm sure if Hartley Jackson pinned him in a tag match, he would be like, well, yeah, you pinned me, but it's not my criteria. I don't think you're worthy. So he is very selective on who gets to challenge for that belt. And it's all up to what he thinks is important and he thinks is impressive, right? Goto, meanwhile, is a consummate worker. He is the everyday man. He works his ass off, and as a result, anyone can challenge. Right? No matter where you're from, what you've achieved, Goto considers everyone equal, and as a result, everyone is as worthy of challenging him as the other person is, because he will take on everyone.
Yeah,
Doesn't
he
matter.
would go. He would go defend that belt on a Rev Pro show in Bradford if he was asked to. Yes.
Yeah. So they're directly opposed, and Tsuji there's an arrogance to that, right? To the elitism. Like, I get to decide who's worthy, who's good enough, who is worthy enough of meeting me. And that's why he loses to Goto. Because he's too arrogant. Meanwhile, Goto realizes that on any given day, anyone can be a champion.
Yeah.
And
that's how he got to be champion.
Yeah, and this was that day for Goto again. This was the day he was going to beat Tsuji, because Tsuji just looked at him as another check mark for his reign, right? Oh, here's another former champion I'm going to beat, and I can talk about it in the backstage promos. And then he lost. And he didn't just lose. The crowd was all in on Goto. They were chanting his name after he won. Goto looked so cool. And Tsuji is standing there, lying there, a little bemused. Because Tsuji's biggest flaw is not the physical, it's not the mental, it's not that he can't talk, it's that he's too arrogant.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit Naito as well. Yeah. Naito was so completely full of himself that caught up with him sometimes. And Tsuji is the same.
Funnily enough, we've just been talking about that because Naito and Bushi lost the Global Honor Crown Tag Team Championships to Yuki Ueno and Manabu Soya. who were just dead earnest, straight up and down pro wrestlers who scream a lot. And Naito didn't get them because they're not like, this isn't Okada, this isn't Tanahashi, this isn't like straight wrestlers I'm used to. So yes, it works wherever you are, wherever you are. That Naito charm has its flaw, and the flaw is not reading the room.
And I think that's what's fun about Tsuji, because he seems to have everything, right? But
Yeah.
he needs his flaws, and people who seem to have everything probably also think they have everything, right? And so
Yeah.
much better than you. I can talk, I can wrestle, I'm big, I'm handsome, I have charisma to boot, I have everything. So of course I'm going to beat Goto.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works.
No, it's not. And even if you look at Okada, the most dominant champion of the modern era, he had his flaws. He couldn't go on forever because it's no fun then, is it? There's got to be jeopardy. And if you don't build them into these people, then it just doesn't work. But there we are. Shall we move on to night 3, sorry?
Yes.
We're back in Sapporo. We're back in Hokkaido. We're at Hokkaido Prefectural Sports Center. 2,409. The Goto effect got an extra 200 people in the building from his win. And he opened the show, tagging with Tatsuya Matsumoto. He lost to Jake Lee and Zane J. All right. Okay, less than 5 minutes, doesn't get a cage match rating. It was short, at least. What did you think of this one?
I was mostly upset that Goto's titty is clearly hurt, and I don't appreciate it. I did enjoy the Tai Chi standing ovation bit. That was good.
Okay.
People were very Tai Chi should fill in for Shota, and like narratively that would have been cool because I know they are friends, but it just doesn't make sense. It's not fair in the G1 of it all. I get that people want all those matches, like the good matches that Shota would have had with the guys in his block. They wanted Tai Chi to have them, but it's just no, it doesn't. It's not. Yeah. It doesn't work that way, sadly.
No, if you set the rules for the G1, then you've got to stick with them. I know it's a fake sport, but if you set the rules, otherwise you lose credibility, don't you? So.
Yeah, and I think it would have been different had it been right before the G1 started.
Yeah.
But you've already had a match, and we had the same thing with Gabe last year.
Yeah.
You just can't do that, and it's not fair. And then it's why is it Tai Chi and not Yoshihashi, right? It becomes a thing. So yeah.
Oh yes, we also forgot to mention. I can't find it, but I am sure it wasn't a fever dream. Hiroshi Tanahashi opened the show, and they announced that they're doing a show in later in August in a shipyard. But I can't remember where the shipyard was. It was definitely a shipyard, and it sounds about the most Japanese professional wrestling thing you could imagine. We're going to run a show in a shipyard. They definitely did it. I can't find any more details about it. Clearly, no one else was as interested as I was. But they definitely said it was going to be in a shipyard. Carry on.
No, there's not much else to say about this match. I'm curious to see. I think Goto versus Jake Lee is going to be very similar to Takeshita Jake Lee, as in one of them plays a straight guy, and then there's Jake Lee. So we'll see. It's kind of interesting because Jake Lee Goto was one of the first matches I think Jake Lee had in New Japan, as in serious singles matches. So it'll be interesting to see.
Next match was TMDK, Hartley Jackson and Riot Owa. They defeated Great O'Khan and Jacob Austin Young. Jacob Austin Young was celebrating his 34th birthday. I'm having a hard time believing he's 34, to be honest. But anyway.
The oldest 34-year-old that you know.
Yes. It definitely happened. I must admit, with Great O'Khan in his current mood, I'm not looking forward... Sorry, in their current mood, I'm not looking forward to Great O'Khan versus Ray Owa, to be honest, unless Owa can drag a match out of them that's better than the last one.
Yeah, my worry there is that the best Great O'Khan matches are with someone who has a very strong character.
Yeah.
And who forces the Great O'Khan into a type of match that they like. Not Great O'Khan, but the person they're wrestling. Oiwa does neither, really.
No, he started doing it a bit more in this tournament, where he's kind of forced things into being a submission match, but that's not. It's a kind of note for the tournament. It's not necessarily something he does all the time, though he may have to in this particular situation.
Yeah, but also Oiwa is not really a submission wrestler. Like he does the submission stuff because of Zack, right?
Hmm.
He's a power-based wrestler,
Yeah.
Oiwa. He does all the technical stuff because he's in TMDK.
Yeah.
So it's still not forcing someone to wrestle at your own game. And the Great Okan, I wouldn't wrestle the Great Okan in a submission style. That feels like
No.
unless
His
you're Zack Sabre
wheelhouse.
Jr.
Yeah.
That feels like an invitation to get pinned. So we'll see. Maybe
Start swinging
Oiwa's
chairs. That's
maybe
my best
Oiwa's
advice.
grown to the point where he can take control of the match. But
Yeah.
if he doesn't, then I do think, like you said, there will be swinging of chairs, and
Yes.
it'll go to the outside. And I wouldn't be surprised if Grokan wins, actually.
Yeah. So there we are. Kaneski Takeshita and Toru Yano. Now there's a tag team and a half. Did you ever think in the year of our Lord 2026 we'd be seeing Kaneski Takeshita tagging with Toru Yano? I didn't. They went to wrestled Unbound Company, Gedo and Yuto Ice to a double count out of 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So we didn't really learn out an awful lot, except Yuto Ice doesn't like Takeshita, presumably because he's a DDT guy and therefore he is Satan. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I saw Takeshita and Yano, and I was a little curious who Yano should have been. As in, we kind of guess that Yano is replacing Shota, right? It wouldn't have been Takeshita Shota, so because Shota would have had a match on this card. So then, who would have been Takeshita's partner? That I'm kind of curious. Who it would have been? Is there a young lion that wasn't on this card?
No.
So then, who would it have been? Honma.
Yeah,
Honma.
well, Honma's no. They haven't got anyone in. No, it would have been Taguchi, wouldn't it?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Guess Yano is better than Taguchi then.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yano's better than Taguchi by miles. But yes. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah. And then this match. This match is just prime example of men being so emotional. Like,
We
so
are.
emotional.
We absolutely are. We shouldn't be trusted with things.
For no reason at all. They treated this as if they've hated each other for 3 decades. I'm like, why do you hate each other?
Which is great because neither of them are 30 yet. Hated you since we met in the delivery ward.
I was like, why are you so upset? Yuto Ice was very upset. I'm like, is he too handsome? Is that the problem?
Yeah, I would think so. I just look at him there with his jaw.
Yeah, and then
and his success and his excellent wrestling. Sorry, Karen.
And then they got counted out, and I went back and I was like, did Yano and Gedo even get into the ring?
No, they didn't. No. This was entirely two people having a moment. And,
I guess Yano got to advertise all his shit, but also they would have gotten ready for nothing. Like Yano was like, I oiled my skin and everything, and I got undressed and took my shit with me, and I did nothing.
I will point out in non-kayfabe that Gedo is the head booker and Yano is one of the lead creatives for this company. So they clearly thought about this before they went out there. Did you want a night off? Yes. Well, I've got a plan.
Gedo is like, I have a great idea. What if we give someone the night off? And Yano was like, yes, I know just the guys.
Yeah, exactly. That would be us. Now, all you have to do is to stand out in the crowd and hit each other really hard for 2 minutes. We'll be fine. So yeah.
Yeah, I looked at this and it feels like this is Yuto Ice's thing. He creates like very emotional rivalries with everyone.
Yeah, it does. That's it. Hang on there. I've got to find something to hate about you. You got it. There we go.
And on the one hand, I think that's very smart because the more rivalries, the better.
Yeah.
But it also means that none of the rivalries are special.
No,
if you hate everyone to that extent. Because
spamming issues.
yeah, if you ask me who Yuta Ice's main rival is, I wouldn't know. Meanwhile,
No.
if I ask who Shota's main rival is, I'd say either Ren or Gabe.
Yes, exactly.
Easy.
Yeah.
There's the most emotional anger there.
Yeah.
So maybe that's one of my issues with Yuta Ice. It's that it feels like he's a rage baiter. If that makes sense.
I think, but I think that's his character as well as kind of like
Yeah.
part of the hip hop kind of thing is like picking fights with people, which is okay. But like you said, you run the risk of diluting things if you're not careful. Oscar has a similar issue, but he doesn't do it through fighting. He does it through saying stuff that he shouldn't do. So yeah.
And there's also a danger is that you can't one up yourself anymore. Because this is
No.
a G1 match. And if you treat
Yeah.
this one G1 match like Takeshita is the devil who needs to die, what do you do when you
Yeah.
actually have a feud with him?
That's yeah.
Going to chop his head off?
This is the thing. I was watching that Minoru. We did watch it last week. The Minoru Suzuki John Moxley thing from Wrestle Kingdom 10 years ago, and I was thinking about like everything about that entrance is everything we know about Suzuki up until that point, right? From starting in the New Japan Dojo, going to UWF Reborn, going to Pro Wrestling Fujiwara-gun, founding Pancras, becoming the king of Pancras, massive influence on MMA. You know, all of that stuff, when he goes in Nina and he comes down that ramp, all that stuff goes through your head because it's the metadata you know about Minoru Suzuki. And if you're not that deep as just a casual fan, it's Minoru Suzuki. You know the lore, the legend behind him. He's the king of pro wrestling because it says so in big letters on the Titantron at the back of their king of pro wrestling. You can see all of that data. You have to tell that story to get that kind of reaction. That when he walks to ringside with a smile on his face and doesn't do anything other than take his trousers off, the place goes fucking crazy. And that requires you to tell those stories in little increments all the way through what you do. It's Tanahashi going and doing Texas Cloverleafs in front of 300 people in the middle of nowhere every night, 6 nights a week during G1 tours to put the groundwork in. So when he gets to the Wrestle Kingdom, he's going to blow the roof off the place with the Texas Cloverleaf. It's little increments that Yuta Ice doesn't do. As much as I really like him, I think he's got great potential. You're right, he's 200 mile an hour all the time, which is fun for a while, but eventually you have to slow down because you just can't go that fast all the time. And I think that's his issue. I think you're right. Is like his flaw is the fact that he needs to space. He needs to actually just breathe every once in a while because you're missing stuff, right? We're ECW fans. We know what that's like when you just do a massive angle and run over it and then think about something else in 2 weeks' time, it's going to explode. So yeah, he's kind of like hot shot booking in one person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's because on the one hand, he knows that's what a lot of people like. The aggressive, emotional, over the top kind of thing. On the other, he's not a good enough wrestler yet to hook them with the pure match stuff.
Yeah.
So he does it with this.
Yeah.
And he knows it gets attention.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But at some point, that's not going to be enough.
No, and that's been the conversation of the week as well. But carry on.
Yeah, there's nothing subtle about Yuta Ice, and I think sometimes you need subtlety.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to grow. And he can grow as in a physical wrestler, as in his matches can improve, but where do you go from this character?
Yeah.
What's the 110% of this character? Death?
Yeah.
Broken limbs?
Yeah, and here's the daft thing. In any other promotion, you would say, well, you could put some deathmatch stuff around that or some cage match stuff. You could make him a hardcore guy. You can't really do that in New Japan because it's not what New Japan do, and he's not that kind of wrestler either. The upper limit of what he can do in a wrestling ring is stifled by New Japan's conservatism, and I don't disagree with it, because that's the house style, and you wrestle the house style. You don't like the house style, Big Japan will have you. They would love to have you. They would make money with you. But equally, you're not going there, are you? You came to New Japan to be a New Japan wrestler, so you've kind of got to act a bit more like a New Japan wrestler.
Yeah, and it makes me think about, are these emotions that you're sharing genuine? Because why do you despise Takeshita this way?
Yeah.
And why is it the same level of hatred that you give someone who hurt you and took your title?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you are actually are not this angry about Hanare and Great Okan, and
yeah,
you were,
or is this fake? Are you faking it?
yeah, and yeah, you again, credibility issues if you're this angry all the time about everyone.
It would be very interesting, right? If this went somewhere, if Yuto Ice is, faking that kind of intensity because he's trying to mask something, because he's insecure. That could be a great story, but I don't think that's the story we're telling.
No, that's not it. And here's the thing: I just thought of something. Aoki in DDT hates the Noah guys, despises the Noah guys, and you can tell because he's so realistic about when he gets hold of Keno, he wants to murder him. But he only does it once a year because the Noah guys aren't on DD2 shows all the time. So when they do the big crossover matches, they put Aoki on the team because he hates the Noah guys. And he's this very calm-mannered shoot-style wrestler the rest of the year round. He does shoot stuff, and he does arm locks, and he does wrist locks, and he does a bit of the DDT style because he's in DDT. But he's a mild-mannered, bit of a grumpy old guy who does wrestling. And then the Noah guys turn up, and he's out for murder. Because he only does it once a year, and that's fine. And so that's the thing, isn't it? It's balance.
It makes it more impressive when you don't do it all the time. Then it's like, oh, he's actually mad now.
Oh god, yeah. He's just this little guy, and he just hates guys from Noah. That's it. That's his main defining character. He's the picture of the old guy in the wrestling gym you don't go anywhere near because he'll break your leg. And all year round he's just there, he's doing his thing, and then Noah turn up and he wants to murder them. And that's how Yuto Ice needs to be more often to get dynamics. It's the same as if Metallica played at full gain all the time and the drums were all the time, you won't get any dynamic shift and it'd be boring. You need to have the quiet bits to make the loud bits louder.
Or you need a good reason why he's mad. I don't think Yuto Ice has ever indicated that he hates DDT.
No.
And Takeshita is a face now. He's a good guy now. So it's not like Yuto Ice is defending New Japan's honor.
No.
So why the hatred? What's he done?
I don't know. Maybe he stole his dessert. We'll never know. Because he doesn't talk about it either. He's just really angry. And then he moves on.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes. Next, House of Torture. Sanada and Yoshikube. Heel Sanada. Wearing the big speakers on the shoulders and the leather jacket with the knobs. Tag with Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Like original kind of War Dogs Sanada, if you will. Turned up this time. So we had LIJ Sanada the day before. We had War Dog Sanada on this particular day.
Yeah, Babyface
that one
had a heel turn. In the one evening between the day before and today.
Yeah, weird. They defeated Daiki Nagai and Yota Tsuji in 6 minutes and 3 seconds. This is obviously Sanada and Yota Tsuji. Daiki Nagai sadly not in this year's G1. I'd like it to be. He's feisty. I like him.
C-block.
Anyway. C-block, yes. I would think he's going to wake C-block easily this year. What did you think of this one?
No, he's not going to win it because he gets pinned all the time. I think it's someone like Harley Jackson is winning it.
Yeah, probably. It's not like the other young lions. So it's who gets pinned less.
Yes, but a lot of these are one G1 member with a young lion versus a G1 member with a junior. And as much as juniors don't outrank heavyweights, they do still outrank young lions.
Yeah. I should ask you this question. N1 this year, Daiki Adashima and Amaxa are both gunning for a place in the N1. How do you feel about that?
Amaxa all the way. Let's go,
Mm.
Amaxa.
Well, there you go. Thought you'd say that. So you do like
course.
Daiki as well?
I love Daiki, but I am partial to my guys. So
Okay. Yeah. Or indeed gods in that particular case.
whatever the hell Amaxa is, yeah.
He's not even sure. Deity of some description. What did you think of this?
I find it fascinating because it's Suji versus old LIJ. And
Yeah.
Sanada kind of wrestled LIJ the day before, and now he's like, nah, refuse to wrestle LIJ versus the LIJ guy. And Sanada won this match, but Suji was the one smiling, and I think it's because he rattled him.
Yeah.
And Sanada is another former champion.
True. That's another one he has to put away on the list, isn't it?
I think it's a very realistic one to put away, though it would be a great story if Suji went through the entire G1 and beat everyone
lost, except the IWGP champions.
For the IWGP champions. That would be fun. Let's see if Sanada wins, then that might be the story. Who's in this block? Are there any other IWGP champions in this block?
Takeshita is obviously a former champion.
Shingo,
yeah. I mean, Hiroki Goto is a global Honored Crown and Triple Crown champion.
Yeah, but he already lost him, so he's already. So he could lose to Sanada, Goto, Takeshita, and Shingo, and beat everyone else.
Yeah, it'd be intriguing, certainly.
Then he'd be at. He'd have a win over Yuto Ice, the Great Khan, Oiwa, Jake Lee, and that's it, I think. Oh, and Oleg.
That's it. Yeah, that'd get him to 10 points, wouldn't it? So that's mid-table respectability for the champion.
Fair enough, right?
Yeah.
I like that story. They're not going to do it, but that would be fun.
I think he'll beat one or two of them just to get his points up.
Yeah.
He wants to be finishing on 12 or 14 points, really, doesn't he?
I think he's going to lose to someone surprising, like maybe Oiwa.
Yeah. Or he's going to lose on the last night to somebody surprising.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah. And then cost him the block.
I like her story. I like her. We should tell New Japan about this. Like, I know you probably already have everything figured out, but what?
Oh, we've got this idea. Next up, Unbound Company, Shingo Takagi and Taiji Ishimori. It's still weird watching them tag together, but they are strangely in sync. It's a bit weird.
But they're both baby faces who make excellent heels.
Yes, and they've got their tag teaming down to a fine art. They wrestled Masatori Yasuda and Oleg Bolton, who learned a lot but lost 8 minutes and 30 seconds. What did you think of this?
This was one of those matches that I don't have any comments on. It happened.
I think Taiji's got to get some new tights. I'm like, I know he loved the War Dogs more than anything, and I know he misses them, but equally. He's still wearing War Dogs. Even Robbie X has got new tights. He's got tights that are like Unbound Company tights.
But I like that. I actually like that. It's kind of like he's like someone who, how do you explain this? Like the company had a merger, and he was forced to become part of a different company, but he doesn't like that company all that much. He has no history with that company. He misses the old company. And Taiji's like, I joined the War Dogs. I didn't join whatever the hell this is. I like that, and that might be a reason why he turns heel eventually. Give it a year, and he'll turn heel over this. I like all these stories.
Okay, fair enough. I can understand that. I'm just saying. Like Robbie's kind of like, all right, lads, we're all right. We're into this. It's okay. I'm at peace with no more Bullet Club, and he stayed put. And I haven't gone anywhere else. And me and Driller, we're all right. We're in. But Taiji's still like,
Yeah,
how long's it gonna last?
Robbie's looking at the future. Taiji is looking at the past.
True. There you go. Robbie X, the future of Unbound Company.
No, that's not what I said. Don't twist my words.
Only a little bit for comedy's sake. Okay, shall we move on to the G1 Climax Block B matches?
Yeah. Yeah, I have one thing to say about this match, which I
I've
didn't
got
watch.
plenty, but carry on.
Well, I realized today that with Gabe and Hanare in this block and Shota being injured, I will
Yeah.
probably watch about 2 singles match a day from this block. Because
Well, you'll get through it quicker then, won't you?
yeah, if it's not Hanare versus Gabe Kidd, then that's 2 matches that I won't be
Yeah.
watching, and then there's no Shota match, so 3 out of the 5 are
Yeah.
gone.
I'm assuming you didn't watch this.
Didn't no.
It was an Ari match, and it's like Lucas Stewart said, Hanari returns to Japan, and I was like, well, couldn't he just stayed at home? Wouldn't he be happier? Wouldn't we all be happier if he just stayed in New Zealand and raced some incels? With anyway, but it's. I've got to that point with Hanari where it's like the Flair match of the 90s. Like, there's this, he's going to do the flip and he's going to do the figure four, and it's fun and it's entertaining, and you do a sing along with it, and that's fine. Or you expect to be a bit more dynamic. He's just got to that point of he does his thing and his thing's okay, and it's Driller, so I'm interested because it's Driller, and I like Driller. I think Driller's awesome, but Driller's trying to polish a turd with this all the time because it's like it's going to just go this way and that's the way it's going to go because Hanari wrestles the same match over and over and over again, and he's shown the emotional development of a puddle for the last 6 years, and it's just hard work. It wasn't dreadful, but it's just not enjoyable because it's an RA, and he's not a nice person, and therefore that drains my interest to start with. And then it's athletic, and there's great feats of strength, and there's some good counter wrestling in it, but it's just. I've got a month of this to watch.
Was it very raw? We are big, strong guys.
Yeah, oh god, there was testosterone flying off him. It was you could have bottled it and sold it to Pete Exgeth. It was just there's nothing wrong with it, and there's plenty of the crowd definitely into it because they love Driller and they love big hit matches, and that's fine. But there's only so far you can go with it, and 13 minutes was about as much as I could be bothered with. And I think it did what it needed to do. It was perfectly okay for what it was, but equally, I need some more movement from Inari to put some variation on the theme, if you see what I mean. And it goes back to what we've been saying about a lot of other people. He's not got vulnerabilities that are obvious. His vulnerability is that he gets out of his depth, but you've got to hit him really hard to get out of his depth. So that takes a long while to get there, if you see what I mean. And it's like he doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't sell well, but he sells in a really kind of obvious way. It's not as subtle as it needs to be to get progressive selling out of him sometimes. So yeah, Driller had uphill task and he did pretty well, but it's still not good.
Did Hanare play heel, or did he just play?
He was heel. He's not even bothering trying to be babyface, and this is no chance he's ever going to be
babyface. That's good, because my issue with Gabe always was that he was a heel masquerading as a face.
Yeah. No, Gabe's a full-on heel now as well. In the matches he's had, he's really lent into it and done a good job with it. To be fair to him, he is absolutely aggravating, and people can't stand him, and but he should have done that 2 years ago.
Tailor-made for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. He is great. He's not. I understand why you don't like him, but he is great at what he does, and he does it really, really well. But his issue is momentum and New Japan keeping interest in him long enough for it to work. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen with the other. Whereas with Hanare, it's entirely his fault.
Yeah, and Hanare always feels like someone who wants to be liked, who wants to be seen as a tough guy. Which is why I asked: is he actually playing heel, or is he just playing? I am a tough baby face. Well, I'm not a baby face. I'm mean. I'm mean and tough and impressive. Look at me.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, but he did cheat when he needed to. He's taking more shortcuts because United Empire are there, so it does help. There's like a flywheel effect of United Empire being a bunch of arse at the moment, so therefore it helps him. I tell you what he needs. He needs Zane J in his corner, and that would solve a lot of his problems. You'd have a direct kind of flywheel effect of he's got a dick in his corner. and therefore
Got a
he
dick
needs,
in his corner.
as in, and not a nice person.
I know you meant just. I got a
Um,
mental image.
resident penis, yeah. He just needs a heater, which sounds stupid for a guy who's 300 pounds and 6'5", but he needs a heater because he ain't getting the heat himself, so he needs a heater.
As long as he understands that his role is to get the baby faces over and on himself.
Yeah, he does that.
Then we're good.
He got loads of sympathy on symphony. He got loads of sympathy on Driller. And
Started singing too? That's cool.
Yeah, he started playing violin at him about 3 minutes in. But yeah, he needs. Yeah, he does all that stuff okay, but he's still not the complete package, and I don't think he's improved pretty much since year 3 of his career. He's kind of just status, not status. And well, what do you do with him? He's the guy who's watched all of those Ricky Chosu matches against Vader from the 90s and thinks that hitting everybody really hard is the whole point of strong style, when it's really not. It's much more subtle than that. But subtle's hard to teach a guy like Hinari in it.
Yeah, I think there are characters that aren't subtle, but that's the point, and that's okay. Like Jiggly. I know you don't like Jiggly, but his point is he's pretending to be over the top, right? No one thinks that's actually the person. But Hinari doesn't wrestle like that, or at least I don't see him wrestle, but his character doesn't feel like that. Nor does Yuto Ice. Both of them don't feel like they're playing someone who's compensating or who's intentionally overdoing it. It feels like they're playing what they think is the cool, tough guy they need to be and want to be.
Yeah. I discussed that this week as well about Billiam.
But do we want to do the Williams?
We'll talk about him
now?
in a bit. Yeah, no, I want to talk about that in a bit. So just put that in the marker in the back of your head, because we'll talk about him in literally 2 matches' time. But yeah, Hinari, you're good at what you do, but you need to do more, or put some dimensions to it, or put some new moves in. Maybe that'd help. Like, I can't even tell you what his finisher is anymore. Oh, it's that spear thing, isn't it? But you know what I mean? It's like, it's not... There's people who don't have... Like, I can't tell you what Zack Sabre Jr.'s finisher is because he's got so many of them, which is cool and everything like that. But Driller's got a finisher that's instantly recognizable and is, kill shot, and that's what you need. And it's like, Hinari's not got any of that. He's just a reasonably talented blob of everything. And it's not been moulded in any way, shape, or form. It's still the same as it was 5 years ago, and that's concerning to me. Anywho, but he's massively popular, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's concerning, as in I don't care if Hinari improves or not. Don't give a fuck.
No.
But I think it's concerning to me because it feels like directly connected to him as a person and his beliefs. Like, to be a tough guy is to be angry.
Yeah.
And rough and loud and not subtle and not sensitive and not even emotional, because I don't think a guy like Hinari sees anger as an emotion.
No.
I think
he's in a constant state.
Yeah, I think they see emotional as in weak and crying.
Yeah, but look at Ishikawa, a guy who's same size as Hinari, just as tough, has more moves, is much better storyteller, and turns up with a smile on his face. Doesn't get angry till he needs to. And has better matches and tells a more developed story. All right, Ishikawa's got 10 years of experience on Hinari, but you know what I mean? It's like it's possible to be that guy with showing levels of your emotions all the way through a match rather than just being angry all the time. Anywho, shall we move on to another match you didn't watch?
Yeah.
Gabe Kidd
Go ahead.
defeated Oscar 7 minutes and 34 seconds. This was actually pretty good. Oscar mentioned on commentary that Gabe Kidd was the person he looked up to, and he was really upset at his latest developments in his contract, and said he was the guy that bought me sweets when I didn't have any money. when I was in the dojo, and he was the guy who looked after me and mentored me when I was younger. And so this was a nice teacher trainee moment if the teacher was a foul-mouthed Midlander who swore a lot and spat at people and threw belts around because he's really angry about New Japan Pro Wrestling. But again, Gabe also has levels, which is the reason why it's more interesting to watch than Hanare. He does kind of react to things. And Oscar put in a really good performance, but he's always going to get outshined by Gabe because Gabe he is a lightning rod for heat, and that's fine. He needs to be right now. I have no problem with it. It's just that I like Oscar as well. I'd like to give him more shine, but you can't with Gabe at the minute. Gabe has to be a steamroller, or else it's not going to work, and that's okay. So yeah, not nice for Oscar. Not a bad performance from Oscar. Gabe did what he needed to do and got out of there, and that's fine. But nothing particularly to write home about.
Okay,
Anything you'd like to add?
I haven't seen it. I've seen nothing.
Yeah. So nothing.
Saw nothing. Didn't want to see anything. So
no, it's okay. I understand.
With Shota gone, that's the one Gabe Kidd match I was willing to watch. None of them.
That's fair enough. We've eventually we're just going to pick holes into it until we've got no matches left that we want to watch. We'll have to get somebody else to do the podcast.
with Honma gone, that'll be one left match I have to skip.
And no Chase and no
Bad luck
Farley. No, yeah.
Well, they're still technically.
No, but you get one tour, maybe 2 tours a year out of them now. They break glass in case of emergency.
I miss Best of Super Juniors. That's usually the tour where I don't have to watch those guys.
No, they were all reasonable human beings, as far as I could tell in this year's Best of Super Junior. It was fun too. Should we move on to the semi-main event because we've got fields to explore here?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
I'm a little scared.
Let me explain what happened. First start, Ren Narita defeated Callum Newman 15 minutes and 30 seconds. This was Dick Dogo's veteran Wiles pulling one over the young eyes of Zane J, who were both as willing to cheat as one another, as you'd expect, because they're both terrible people. Callum Newman wasn't a babyface, but he was the more popular of the two, as you would imagine. And yeah, here's the thing, and this is the thing that I want to say right now. Callum Newman's a better wrestler than Will Ospreay is today. And the reason why is because Will Ospreay could not have had the match that he had with Ren Narita and made it work, whereas Callum Newman can. And the reason why, for no other reason, is Callum Newman sells better than Will Ospreay does. And that makes him a better wrestler because that's more vital than any moves you can do. And Newman has the moves, but deploys them at the right time for reasons in the correct space. And Ospreay doesn't. And if anyone has a problem with me, you know where I am. I will explain that to you again. But that's my reasoning for it, is I think Callum Newman's better than Will Ospreay now. And what will he be like in 2 or 3 years' time? Next
podcast, we're going to have Kenny Omega on to defend Williams.
He's pretty virulent about that this week. But yeah, and that's the thing, because the big matches are really important, don't get me wrong. The big pay-per-views where you've got to deliver money performances are really important. But as we've been saying, and this has been the theme of this podcast, the matches in Hokkaido on the third night of the G1, where you're trying to set your stall out for what you need to be in this tournament and what you're going to be for the next 6 months of your career, Newman's better at that. Newman sold for Narita like there was no tomorrow. He made him look like $1 million before Narita won the match. And Newman didn't lose anything because he lost via cheat. It was an excellent performance from both of them, but Newman has the nuts and bolts of what he's supposed to do much better than Ospreay has. And I just thoroughly enjoyed this match for what it was. I'm not a big fan of shenanigans, but it worked here because you don't actually see Dick Togo and Narita very often, and now you've kind of seen him a bit more, and it's kind of giving layers to Narita of, actually, I'm not getting the job done, I need the help, and that's intriguing to me. But Newman was excellent in this match, and I've thoroughly enjoyed his G1. What do you think, Christy?
Well, I thought this match was one of those interesting cases where the babyface heel dynamic was very interesting again.
Yeah.
Because we had Sonata versus Great Khan, where the House of Torture guy was the face. And
Yeah,
here we
yeah.
have Narita versus Newman, where the House of Torture guy is the heel.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that Callum is in a very interesting position where he can very easily play both sides. He's likable enough, still, even as a heel, to play the babyface in the babyface role.
Yeah.
But he's not likable enough to the point where people don't see him as a heel anymore.
Yeah.
And it's this match kind of showed that people want to cheer Callum. And
Mm-hmm.
there's this very funny moment where Zane J interrupts Narita. I think he did something, trying to cheat or whatever, trying to pin Callum unfairly, and there was this confused reaction from the crowd.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to cheer what Zane J had just done, but they are too used to being absolutely infuriated with him. And their response was, well, question mark?
Yeah. Yeah, there
They
was
are
a
not,
literal gasp as they were we're clapping
yeah,
in.
yeah. But they aren't that way with Callum.
No.
They are much more forgiving towards Callum, which shows that he has great potential as a babyface. And it's a shame that we lack heels, because I think he would get over with the crowd. Yeah. That was what I found interesting about this match. I think Narita is doing what he's been doing the last couple of tournaments. He does his job really, really well. But his job is limited because of what New Japan is willing to do with him.
Yeah.
And maybe with Shota's injury, they take a leap of faith with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But we'll have to see. And I think Callum is one of the more interesting people on the roster right now because he is on the up, but he's also on the down because he just lost the title. So he's in that stage where he's probably going to change a bit as a consequence of the disappointment and wanting new things. But he's also in a block with a bunch of heels.
Yes. And he also has Will Ospreay waiting for him somewhere down the line because that has to happen.
I'm assuming Wrestle Kingdom, but well, yeah. Are we going to talk about what I referenced earlier?
Yes, we should. Why not? Let's dig in. Go for it. We don't get enough hate mail. Carry on.
Okay, so I wasn't really online when this happened. I came online and I saw the response to it. So apparently someone made a very dark tweet about Will Ospreay's lack of selling.
Yes.
I think what the tweet was roughly was Will can't sell even something to do with his neck and Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
He can't sell as well as Charlie Kirk could sell his neck or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. Basically saying he's a shit seller and then compared him to, for people who don't know, the right-wing dude who got shot in the head. Neck. And died. And the response...
Which, can we say, is really unpleasant. But,
I mean, yes, it's a very dark joke. I don't enjoy those jokes. I think it was a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
But the response was... Anyway, the result was that Kenny Omega saw the tweet and got really offended for Will's sake and talks about how my great friend and blah, blah, blah. And I get that too. Like, I get that Kenny saw a friend of his get compared to a right-wing dude who got shot. Like, that's a very graphic comparison. Even though the aim of the tweet was not to say, I hope Will gets shot or whatever. It was to say, can't sell. And I think some people didn't seem to recognize that was the point, to say he can't sell. It wasn't a threat or whatever. And because Kenny Omega responded that way, and Kenny has a huge following, this blew up.
Possibly.
Hugely. All over my timeline. And I have a couple of issues with what happened. And my
Yeah.
main issue is that a lot of people were very disingenuous about the responses to that tweet.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you had a problem with what Kenny Omega said, then you were automatically deemed someone who was, one, okay with those kinds of jokes, or someone who thought that Kenny was a fan of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Which is...
No, it
when
just...
I think there was also a very big, sizable portion of the people who had an issue with Kenny's response, who had an issue because he was defending Will Ospreay.
Yeah,
And
which is reasonable.
Yeah, and calling him a dear friend. When
Yeah.
Will Ospreay is a scumbag.
Yeah. There's it's why give the guy oxygen when you have a massive following on the internet? If you wanted less people to know about that joke, don't retweet it. Don't make comment on it. Don't reply to it. Just ignore it. Yes, it's horrible. Yeah, it was not nice. But it's free speech. And it's like a lot less things have been said to you and some things to me than that. And it's like we got to brush them off and get on with our day. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just been honestly, that feud is just, we don't watch AEW, either of us, but that feud has been hilarity from the first moment it was aired, of how not to run an angle and how to react badly in PR terms to something stupid.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there going, people are being way too black and white with this. Because there's layers to this issue. It's not like I had an issue with Kenny saying what he said, not because I don't think it was wrong for him to defend a friend, or that I think it was wrong that he had an issue with that joke, but that he indicated that Will is a dear friend of his.
Yeah.
And there's another layer to this, which is a certain Marty Skrull.
Yeah.
Because there's been a long-standing rumor that the Elite, and that includes Kenny, are still good friends with Marty Skrull.
Yeah.
And when Hangman Page turned out to still be friends with Marty Skrull, that came up again. And now Kenny Omega is openly saying Will Ospreay, who has done a lot of shitty things, including to women, is a dear friend of his and is getting defended openly on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it makes people worry that if Will is a friend of his,
who else is a friend of his?
Who else is still a friend of Kenny Omega? And that's why this blew up so much, and why there are so many layers to this, and why I thought the response by some people was a little misguided, because there's way more going on than a dark joke.
As much as, like, yeah, AEW fans on Twitter are not the most subtle of thinkers at times. But everything you look at, the way that they've two interacted on TV and on the internet over the last 3 weeks, they've got to sell out a 90,000 seater stadium at the end of next month. And they'll sell it out because it's AEW in London and it's good. But it is like nothing them two have done has made me want to go watch that wrestling match. Now, I won't go watch that wrestling match. I was joking earlier this week, but, well, if it's the main event, at least I can leave early and beat traffic. But I don't particularly want to watch the match. Or I like going to the card because it's a great wrestling fan day, because there's so many people there, and it's like, hey, these are our people, and look what we did as our people. That's cool, and our community's great. But it's just, there's nothing on that card yet that's made me go, I want to go see this. And this is definitely not making me want to go see it, because it just seems like a bunch of very petulant, self-entitled people who are just arguing about semantics on the internet. And that's not how you sell a wrestling match. To anyone.
Yeah, think the deal also with the AEW contingent, as in the fan base, is that they don't have the history with Osprey that New Japan fans do. And there was a time when the majority of New Japan fans despised Will Ospreay because of all the shit he did. And that lingers. So there are always going to be New Japan fans who despise him, regardless of what he's currently doing, or what he's currently pretending to be, or how he's portraying himself, or whatever storyline is happening in AEW.
I would also point out there's a layer of Brit Rest fans who had the same opinions of him before he left for Japan.
Yeah. So that's a big part of the people who are responding to this dislike William, not because of what he's doing in AEW, but
Just
what he did
because
before.
they dislike William.
Yeah, they dislike Ospreay, the person.
Yeah.
But then you've got AEW fans who, for some of them, just genuinely don't know the history, don't know why people dislike Ospreay. They probably know one or two things that he recently did that got him into trouble, like the joke about his wife. But they probably think that's an isolated issue, right? And like, oh, you got so angry about one thing? No, this is the 50th thing.
Yeah. I saw somebody go on Blue Sky explaining how much he loved the Ospreay Death Riders angle because it's like he's got such Labrador puppy dog energy about him. And I'm like, he's the most aggravating person I've ever come across in wrestling. Because of the backstory I know. And it's like, I don't want to yuck on your yum. If you really enjoy it, you go enjoy yourself. But good God, how have we got to this point? And that shows you how great Tony Khan is as a promoter, I guess. But
but that's also their different audience, right?
Yeah.
And the New Japan or even the Brit Res crew. A lot of AEW fans are either purely AEW fans or maybe lapsed WWE fans or fans who might not have been introduced to him in New Japan or in the Brit Wrestling, but were introduced to him in AEW. And I'm not saying that's their fault. Like, good if you don't know Ospreay's history. I hated having to go through it.
Yeah.
But it does mean that people assume that everyone feels that way about Ospreay.
Yeah.
And I think there's ignorance. There's people who just don't know, but there's also people who are willing to forgive everything he's done because maybe they are aware that these things happen, but they weren't there to experience it, or because they just like Ospreay and AEW.
Yeah, and they don't want to know about it. There is an entire Wikipedia page devoted to it, by the way, if you care to look. But anyway.
Yeah, and that's just the big part, right? Because he's done plenty on Twitter alone that wouldn't have gotten mentioned on his Wikipedia page. That aggravated me too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's also an issue. Is that we know the side of Ospreay that they don't. And that causes us to go, Kenny Omega openly admitting that showing that he's defending his dear friend is an issue for us because of, the being a friend of Will Ospreay. Yeah. Whereas for AEW fans who either don't know or don't care, that's a good thing. Like, of course he's defending his dear friend. And of course he's defending Ospreay, who's done nothing wrong in this situation.
Yeah.
And that's the disconnect, and that's why it got really frustrating on Twitter, because I made one tweet about it and otherwise kept out of it because I felt like it was a losing battle regardless. Because
it's always going to be with Ospreay, just because he moves on from accountability so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, he pissed off everybody in Britain, so he goes to Japan, and it was nicely timed that he gets to Japan and stays there. And, he's kind of untouchable in London, so Rev Pro, they look after him as well, but his progress bookings slow down. where I'm not wrestling out of the South, and then, so that accountability just kind of disappears for him because he becomes big enough to be able to control the narrative within the wrestling industry.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Japan, and the same thing happens again.
Yeah, and even with the with his wife Alex Windsor, the whole situation there, he got to tell his side of the story in an interview somewhere, and he turned it into something completely different than what people's issues were.
Yep, which he does all the time because he's a master of avoidance.
Yeah, but he's a big enough guy now that becomes the new narrative for a lot of people, especially
Yeah,
people who don't run in our circles. Like
yeah,
in our circles, it's well aware that Will Ospreay is a scumbag
yeah,
and
and
has been for the last decade that I've known him.
he's also relying on the latent misogyny of the people that follow him. Not saying that they are active misogynists, but he's presenting ideas that are misogynist in a reasonable way so that they get dismissed. Like, oh well,
Yeah,
my wife doesn't mind me speaking like that, and it's like that's
yeah,
not the point. That's not what we said. You
yeah,
shouldn't demean any woman, your wife or not, in public on
yeah,
international
and
television.
people are allowed to feel uncomfortable with anything.
Yeah, yeah. This is yeah. You're a baby face and you're making things uncomfortable for fans. That's not your job.
And enough people were uncomfortable that it became a big thing online. Like this isn't just one person going, "Oh, I didn't like that line. It made me a little uncomfortable," and other people
Yeah,
going, "Oh, okay."
I watched an
Yeah,
interview with Kevin Smith, the director, the other day. A short clip of an interview, and someone asked him, said, "How do you feel about? Do you think about women when you're writing?" And he said, "Of course I fucking do. It's 51% of the people who live on the planet are women. I'm married to a woman. I have a daughter. I would be stupid not to write to these people because they are my audience." And a lot of wrestlers miss that out.
and it's just. I also look at this and go, this many, particularly women, said how incredibly uncomfortable that made them feel. And
Yeah,
instead of going, "Oh, that wasn't my intention. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'll try not to do it again," it got turned into a huge drama.
yeah.
Like, if I said something and someone got hurt by it, even if that weren't my intent, I'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I'll never do it again."
Yeah.
Like that, I just don't see that you could look at this many people being hurt by something you did, and instead of apologizing, even if it wasn't intentional, instead
Yeah.
of doing that, just going around and kind of mocking them and turning it into "you're wrong," actually.
Of course,
And
he's also and a level of privilege he's had in everywhere he's been because he was the boy wonder. Like me and Marcus talk about this all the time. There are girls in the Sendai Girls Dojo who are probably 15 years old or twice the wrestler that he ever will be, but they're grounded. They know their place in the company. They know their place in the organization. They know what they're going to do when they go to the wrestling show and how they're going to behave and what they're going to do. But he never had that because he was always the boy wonder. His parents bought him a wrestling ring to learn to wrestle in the backyard. They bought it off FWA. The only reason why Alex Shane found out is because he saw it in some videos so they posted online somewhere, and he went down to figure out what the hell was going on. Why was one of FWA's rings in their backyard? He's had. We talk about Shota having the silver spoon in his mouth, but Ospreay's had the silver spoon in his mouth from the beginning, which makes him entitled, which means he thinks he can create narratives for himself and people will buy into it, and he's lucky that a lot of them do.
yeah, and I do think there's also a significant part of this is that it's Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Because Kenny Omega is widely liked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course he has his detractors, but for the most part, wrestling fans like and respect Kenny Omega.
And quite rightly, he's an exceptional performer, yes.
But it's not just that. It's not just the performer. People trust him as a person.
Yeah.
He is openly queer. He does storylines and says things that a lot of wrestlers wouldn't. He seems safe.
Yeah.
and he's been a safe space for a lot of queer or female wrestling fans. Like Golden Lover is very important to a lot of LGBT plus people.
Yeah.
So when Kenny Omega openly calls Will Ospreay his friend, that hurts to a lot of people, and it makes them question, what about the other scumbag Brit that you used to hang with?
I would also point out, and this is a bit of a wrinkle in the whole situation, is the books have never liked Ospreay. And have been vocal about it in promos and in vocal about it in being the Elite as well. They've poked digs at Ospreay at every opportunity, and when he bullied Sadie Gibbs over Twitter about her grandparent passing away and her going home from Stardom, they got her a job in AEW because essentially she didn't feel comfortable going back to Japan after that. But again, it's the Elite, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there in there. But the Box are generally considered not always that popular with fans. They have an interesting relationship with fans, certainly. But again, there's subtlety to this, and it's like the Bucks aren't Kenny, and the Kenny aren't the Bucks. But they're friends, and that's fine, but it's not a unit, is it?
No, but I do think that's also a part of it, is that Kenny, for the most part, gets trusted by wrestling fans. So when he does something that shows that maybe that trust is a bit misplaced, and it's another reminder that no one in the wrestling business is trustworthy 100%.
No, and Kenny's made mistakes in the Chasing rant is the one that pops to mind, and it's like, why did you ever be involved in anything? It's a very depressing conversation to have, and I have a feeling we're going to keep having it all the way up to All In.
Yeah, I can't wait until Wrestle Kingdom is done and we've had the Ospreay Callum match, and maybe Ospreay can fuck off for a bit again. That'd
be nice, wouldn't it? It'd just be an Ospreyless universe. I thought we got rid of him when he left, to be honest with you. I was hoping he wouldn't come back.
That's the same with Gabe. He came back almost instantly. Like,
I don't think Gabe's gone. I think Gabe. I hate to admit this to you, but I genuinely believe that Gabe's a New Japan signee on loan to AEW. It's just an AEW angle. I hate to break this to you.
I hope he's just dual contracted, and because of visa issues, he's focusing on Japan currently.
I have a feeling that he may still be a New Japan signee, and they're lending him to Tony Khan to enhance the angle. But I don't want to break that to you. I'm just trying to ease it in.
What are you basing this on?
Basing it on the fact that he hasn't done that much on AEW television since the Door Dogs got there. To be honest, he did like 1 week of TV and then has been disappeared ever since.
Yeah, but that was injury and visa issues, though, right?
Yeah, that's true. But I think you'll probably get a better picture of that after G1, obviously, when his visa issues have been sorted.
Yeah, but he'll have to come back again for the Wrestle Kingdom lead up.
You would think so. Well, I would say if he's in World Tag League, he's still a New Japan guy.
Well, it depends if the visa issues are solved.
Yeah.
If we know if he's regularly on AEW TV and he shows up for Tag League, then yeah. Unless they're using that to get a Shota story, but because if Shota is Gabe's rival, and if Wrestle Kingdom is Shota versus Gabe for the global title, then they need some sort of lead up somewhere. They'll have to come back somewhere before Wrestle Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
At least Drilla beating Gabe might indicate that that's not the focus for Wrestle Kingdom.
Possibly not. You shall have to see. But yeah. They also need a short-term story for both of them anyway, so that would cure that problem.
Kind of. But Gabe doesn't really need a story if he's going to AEW.
No. But if he isn't, and he is a New Japan guy who's been loaned to AEW, he will.
Yes, but that depends on what he is. We'll see.
Which we don't know. And it's nice not to know for once. We find out everything. And it's nice that they've kept it secret.
I mean, I'd rather know.
Yeah.
So I can know whether or not to be disappointed.
You could just be generally disappointed and have some disappointment on tap to feed into this
always,
particular situation.
I'm always disappointed when it
You're
comes to game.
You're a teacher. You're always disappointed. But yeah.
That reminds me of the Hulk in that movie. My secret is I'm always angry.
Angry.
I'm always disappointed.
I'm disappointed. Are you disappointed? I'm always disappointed in you. Before we get to the main event, we want to do a happy thing before we go to the main event because we had such a depressing conversation today. Hiroshi Tanahashi was interviewed about and was asked the question, what makes the ideal look for a professional wrestler? And he replied, well, me. It's just like, oh, you are a glorious man. You are wonderful. I love you so much.
I mean, he's right. Like, prime Tanahashi was fucking gorgeous.
Yes, he was. Absolutely.
In all sense of the way. Like, as a wrestler, as just the way he looked, the way he presented himself, like, A+.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all straight men should aim towards. Anyway, yes. So there you go. So just to make me laugh. Main event time. It was some serious wrestling, but this would make me smile. Yuya Uemura finally gets the monkey off his back by beating Zack Sabre Jr. 25 minutes and 18 seconds. This was phenomenal. Uemura trying to match Zack Sabre Jr.'s style and eventually getting him in a pure wrestling match is a joy to watch. The fact that Sabre having to resort to rope breaks and strikes will tell you how far this went down the line. Uemura pulling out some chops that he hasn't used in a very long period of time. It's sometimes awkward when you've got a straight pro wrestler like Uemura going up against a folk-style wrestler or shooter like Zack Sabre Jr., but this flowed perfectly and shows you how adaptable Zack Sabre Jr.'s style is to anything and how good Uemura has become at telling a story, and especially telling a story through submission, which is what this match was about. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Match of the tournament for me so far. What do you think, Christy?
I thought it was good. It's not what I like Yuya in, the kind of match I like, because I like Yuya as being the problem solver who uses his technique to overcome a very different opponent. As in, he overcomes someone who's power-based or who's just way bigger than him. Whereas Zack is much more a mirror image. But it's still fun because it's Zack, cocky Zack, going, oh, you're trying to do my thing? You're never going to be able to beat me at my thing. And that Yuya kind of still does. Like, it's not the same style as Zack.
No.
It's similar enough, but it's not that he's beat him at his game. It's just that he's beaten him in a way that's similar enough to Zack's game where it's hurting his pride. Right?
Yeah. That's it. It's
close enough where it hurts.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Zack has just in the match before overcome Shota, who had like a running, win-loss over Zack. He lost 4, I think, matches. Shota had won. So Zack has finally gotten back at that other new generation guy who kept beating him. And he's like, oh, monkey off my back. It's time for me to take over now. And now a new generation guy got his number. Which is fun. I love Zack being perturbed. Zack getting his comeuppance because he's being an arrogant dick is fun to watch. And it's great for the young guys. Because Zack is a wonderful wall to fight against. And when you overcome everything that Zack is, that feels great. It's a great moment. The crowd got into it. So really fun match. I do have one question here. Why do you think... I think I have an answer, but why do you think they didn't go with the very ready-made story of Yuya defends Shota's honor? Because Yuya is Shota's very recent tag partner. Who is wrestling Zack, the guy who put Shota on the shelf. It feels ready-made, right?
It does. But
Especially if you know that Yuya's winning.
I think they try and keep them as separate as they possibly can, despite putting them together in a tag team, which sounds weird. But there's a definite separate narrative for both of them. And I mean, yeah, it was the obvious thing to do, but as well, it's like it's not the World Tag League. This is about individual achievement, and I think they're ready to separate each other from that point of view. So yeah, you're right. It is a ready-made story. It would have made things life a lot easier. But yeah, I suppose it's for that reason. It's like, this is the G1. It's about me, not about us. What's your thought?
Well, I do think they want to remove them from each other.
Yeah.
But I think it would have given emotional resonance to that main event more so than what we had now. Because what we had now was more, I want to best you as a wrestler. When it would have been very emotionally charged if Yuya went, I am going to best you as a wrestler, and I'm going to do it for the guy you just injured as well. Because there's no direct rivalry between Yuya and Zack.
No.
But that could have created for this one match a rivalry that would have made it interesting. But why I think they didn't is because I do think Gabe is the focus, is the aim for Shota. Because who went on Twitter and took credit for Shota's injury?
Yeah.
Gabe Kidd.
Of course he did. Even if he wasn't. If he hadn't wrestled him for 6 weeks, he would take credit for it.
Yeah.
Because that's what heels are supposed to do.
Gabe went on Twitter, and this pissed off the Japanese fans a lot, which was very funny. He took credit for Shota's injury. He was happy about it. He said, yes, look what I did. Isn't it great? And the fans blew up at him because they said, this is going too far. You should never celebrate an injury, blah, blah. Which, on the one hand, I agree with, because it's Gabe Kidd. On the other, like, it's clearly an angle. It's clearly...
it's his job.
It's his job, kind of.
Yeah.
But it seems to suggest that maybe Gabe is the focus for Shota, because Yuya's not doing it.
Yeah.
Zack is not doing it. Zack is not focusing on the fact that he basically eliminated someone from the tournament. The only person who's focusing on the fact that Shota is now out is Gabe.
Yeah.
So it's putting Shota in the babyface position. It's giving people more ammo to be mad at Gabe. It's also giving Shota a reason, maybe, to challenge Gabe in the future. Like, I saw what you said. I want to challenge. So that's my thinking behind it. It could just be that Gabe saw it and like, oh, taking pot shots at Shota is fun. I haven't done it in a while. Let's go back to it. That could very well be. That's also something Gabe does.
It could also be a direction from the office as well.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. So.
But if that is, there has to be a reason why.
Yeah.
So that's my thinking.
Absolutely. Hilariously, TNA used to give directed tweets out, like their wrestlers had to tweet certain things every once in a while, but it would always be the same tweet. See, the timeline would just light up with the same message from 5 different wrestlers. It's like...
We happen to think exactly the same.
I should be watching Impact on Thursday night on Spike to figure out what's going on. Yeah. Shall we preview the next one?
Yes, surprise me.
21st of July will be at Sendai Miyagi, do apologise, Sendai Sun Plaza Hall, home of Sendai Girls. I wonder if they'll outdraw Sendai Girls.
Maybe one of them can be Shota's replacement.
Oh, Chihiro Hashimoto in the G1. She would just hurtle people around. It would be glorious. Sorry. There's a strong belief that Chihiro Hashimoto should be Wrestler of the Year already in July. But yeah, Chihiro Hashimoto in the G1. Now you've got me thinking about that and how cool that would be. Instead of doing my job properly, which is previewing
You're
the show.
welcome.
Oh. Anyway. Tyson Nakahara and Toru Yano versus Dick Togo and Ren Narita. Probably needs to be a match that's happening for no apparent reason. It's just, it's there.
Yeah, because it would have led
That'd
up
be the
to
Shota.
Shota Ren.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this nothing
I'm
burger of a match?
I'm just sad now that we're not getting Shota Ren.
Okay, Masatori Yasuda and Yue Uemura versus Daiki Nagai and Drilla Maloney. That will be quite nice. I will thoroughly enjoy that.
Yeah, and I know I'm focusing on the singles matches, but Yuya Drilla was very good last time, so
Yeah.
it should be fun.
Oh, good lord. Hanare and Jacob Ostad Young versus Gedo and Oscar.
Yeah,
The Tolls.
that's another Oscar singles match I won't be watching. Sorry, Oscar.
We like you really, but not that much. Callum Newman and Zane J versus Atlee Jackson and Zack Sabre Jr. I'm very much looking forward to watching Zack try and break Callum's legs in 4 or 5 different ways. That should be fun.
That's also the case of a heel who has face tendencies or could very easily turn face in Callum versus a face who has heel tendencies and could very easily turn heel in Zack Sabre Jr. So I bet they're going to be really annoying to each other, and I look forward to it.
Block A, Hiroki Goto versus Jake Lee.
Yeah,
that might be your
curious.
ideal match of this entire tournament. I think you would just, oh, that's great. I know I'm not watching it.
Can we have it again, please?
No, please don't. Great Okan versus Rai Owa. Oh, good God. That could be great or it could be dreadful, and it's going to be nothing in between. So I'm hoping for great. But Okan's lack of interest in life lately is concerning me.
If Okan gets to win, maybe they'll be more enthused to try.
Yeah, possibly. Konesuke Takeshita versus Yuto Ice. This is definitely not your thing. This is going to be a big hit and out job, this one. It's a swing for the fences from the first bell.
Takeshita is my thing. It's just that I think Takeshita is very willing to go along with people's bullshit. Because he is a DDT wrestler at heart.
Yeah, because he's from DDT, and if you don't, it's not going to work.
He's like, you want to bleed? Sure.
Yeah, can you imagine Antonio Honda tripping over the bottom rope and Takeshi just no-selling it? Get up. What are you doing down there? Yeah, what would it? No. Anyway. Sanada versus Yota Tsuji.
Yeah, fun.
Intriguing.
Fun.
You're not going to like this. You might do. Shinango Takagi versus Oleg Bolton. Shenanigans Takagi. Shingo Takagi versus Oleg Bolton.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think Shingo is very talented at getting great matches out of people, and he's very dramatic and over the top as a character while playing the straight guy.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean. Like, Shingo is dramatic and has a flair to him, but he thinks he's playing it straight.
Yes,
but he's not, which is
absolutely fun. Not. Yeah, and Oleg hit people really hard, and he's really good at it. So yeah, it's more of Shingo wrestling around Oleg, which is fine. It can all be done. That show will happen on Tuesday. We will be back on Thursday to give us a chance to actually watch the cards, which would be handy, really. Otherwise, we'll just be sat here talking about Ospreay for another 2 hours, and we've done enough of that today, I think. We've Ospreyed ourselves out, which is a good thing.
I mean, I'm always up for complaining about Ospreay. It's very cathartic.
It is. It does make us feel better. You might not want to listen to it after the first 14 or 15 hours. However, yeah, there's that. Where can we find you on the internet, Christy? Apart from hiding.
You can find me at Smark Infested on Twitter and Blue Sky.
You can find me at Sheriff Lone Star on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Sheriff Lone Star TX on Instagram. If you like listening to me play guitar, I've been doing that a lot lately. I bought a new amp and it's like, oh, this is lovely. This sounds amazing. So I played it all the time. Thankfully, my neighbours were out, so it was good. Anyway, you can find the show Troopany Show on Twitter, Blue Sky, and on Instagram. We will be back on Thursday with another episode of Today At. This is a Troopany Show. This is going out on Monday. We recorded another Troopany Show today, which I think will probably go out next Monday, depending on our recording schedule. And there is an edition of the Wrestling Rewind with Dara, which is going out on Wednesday. And of course, it'll be the Friday re-release on Friday. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye!